Hey guys, Mikey here. Just before the podcast starts, I want to let you know there are a few spoilers for films and series. Game of Thrones, Austin Powers, Rick and Morty, Matilda, F is for Family, Shameless, and probably a couple more.
Asking all the big questions. Series of theories. Asking all the big questions.
Hey up lads, I've had an idea about the podcast.
Series of theories. Asking all the big questions. Series of theories. Asking all the big questions. Series of theories.
Hello and welcome to Series of Theories podcast, the podcast where we take on the big questions. Today's big question, Josh, what have we got, mate?
Who is the worst ever fictional father?
Fictional fathers. So what we've all done is brought a few dads to the table that we're going to talk about and give reason to why we think they're the worst. Do you want to start with your three, Josh?
Okay.
Or do I start with my three?
You start with your three.
Yeah.
That's
Go
how.
for
That's what we've.
You're talking. You
That's
start
what we've said. Okay, I've gone for Dr. Evil. I mean,
Yeah, good
that's
one.
fair.
Very good.
I've gone for Frank Murphy. F is for Family.
Yeah.
And I've gone for Frank Gallagher. Two Franks.
Franks and the Franks.
All the Franks.
Yeah.
Do they seem? What's your gut reaction to them?
Oh shit, dads.
Oh shit, dads. Yeah, you're getting the same vibe then.
Agree. I wouldn't have picked Dr. Evil actually, but I definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
wouldn't have.
the clue's in the name.
Yeah, but it just slipped my mind.
Yeah. Not thought of that guy for ages.
Yeah.
Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
I love that guy. Go on then, Josh. Who've we got?
Mine are Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones,
I know him well.
Peter Griffin, obviously Family Guy, and Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty.
Good
Rick.
shout.
Yeah.
Go on then, Sam. Let's see ya.
I mean, I'm going to say two of them now. I'm going to save you one because I think one of them is a bit controversial and I don't want to go into it yet.
Oh,
I'll
this
wait
is
for you.
exciting.
But two.
Controversial
Yeah.
cast.
Number one. They're not in any order, but we've got Mr. Wormwood. So Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito from Matilda. Matilda's dad.
Of course it is,
who's
yeah.
a wanker. And
Why didn't I have his name to come to
Mr.
mind?
Wormwood.
then?
Everyone knows Mr. Wormwood from the shop.
Yeah.
From the car shop. And then we've got Stan Smith off
Yeah.
American Dad.
American
who
Dad.
have
Pretty
done some
bad
pretty
dad.
despicable things. And number three, wait and see.
Wait and oh, everyone's clinging to the seats now. Who's this dad gonna be? Might be my dad.
Yeah.
He's not fictional, is he? Oh God, so that's another
Shit,
story.
Yeah. Stop that one now.
So my three. I mean, I'm gonna go in order that I think from least worst to worst. I'm gonna leave you with my most worst. Okay, I'm speaking like caveman now.
Most
Me,
worst.
most
Me,
worst.
least worst.
I hate
Most
man.
worst.
Okay, so I think somebody who's just misunderstood and quite lovely, really, in his persona is Dr. Evil.
Okay.
I think Dr. Evil, yes, he wants to cause carnage. He wants to take over the world and have lots of money.
Yeah.
I mean, what man doesn't? But he's never achieved it. And I was saying, I think he's doing this on purpose. I think he just enjoys the pursuit of being evil and having someone to fight against, Austin Powers. Because they're brothers, aren't they? Oh, that's a spoiler alert, if anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he just enjoys that pursuit. So when I think Scott, his son, comes in film 2, or is he in film 1, 2 and 3?
I don't think he's in the first one.
Don't think he's in the first one, no. But when he comes in film 2, he shows him love. And he's kind of like, oh my God, I've got somebody to go on this pursuit of conquering the world with. But it's just because Scott isn't evil enough, and I'll never. That is my favourite scene ever, when he's like, "You're the Diet Coke of evil. You're quasi evil." Not what does he say? Something like, "Not the full potato."
Yeah.
What does that mean? Not
Well,
the
at least
full
he's encouraging
potato.
his son, I suppose. Like,
But he
it's
wants him
one
to be
good thing.
passionate. That's all he wants. He wants him to be on the same page as him, pursuing the same purpose. So ultimately, he's a bit evil because he replaces him with Mini-Me.
Yeah.
And, you know, if my dad did that to me, heartbroken.
Bit harsh, isn't it?
But that's my fault too for not getting on the bandwagon with the family.
Not getting on the take over the world bandwagon.
Yeah. That's how I feel. That's what I've got a vibe of. I don't hate Dr. Evil enough as I do with, what was my second? Oh, Frank Gallagher.
Frank Gallagher.
Now he's equal actually to Dr. Evil, because Frank again just loves partying.
Yeah.
He loves getting on the session, and that's what he wants from his sons and daughters. He's got a lot of them. He's got, I think, 6.
I reckon more. I was going to say, has he got 7 or 8?
I think there's probably more that aren't even shot, but it's said in the series that he's been with other women, and there's potential candidates out there. There's some. He's a proper council estate lad, Frank Gallagher. But for me, again, he's just passionate about getting on it, and that's all he knows. That's his environment. So even though he'd definitely pick going on the sesh, drink and drugs over a night with a family, if they went with him and were on that mission too, he'd be there supportive and loving that, and you get that vibe from him.
He's just a bad influence, really. Isn't he? Rather than a bad father as such, he's just a bad influence, and
that's all he knows.
And what has happened from him being in a bad environment has caused him to be worse influence.
Who he is.
That's it. Are a lot of his issues with his family, well, the issues that he causes for his family caused by his issues with addiction as well, because he's addicted to pills as well, isn't he? He seems to take pills a lot.
Of course, I mean, every pint he's got a pill. But the thing is, in the episodes as they unfurl, there's a few moments where he shows glimpses of genuine love for his family.
Oh yeah, he definitely cares.
There's one where they come and take Stella, named after a beer, his favourite beer. But I think he loses Liam and Stella for a few nights, and you genuinely see him broken, and he really is. He can't even go on the sesh, so you know that means something to him. And there's definite moments where he balls is up, but he tries to make amends for it, and he helps them in some way. And the kids, they kind of like the lifestyle. They're all in it, in with it. So
they know, innit?
I think they have a connection over it, and it's quite wholesome. I do think he's a bad dad, though, in that influence.
And that pub's a whole community as well, isn't it? That all the kids are involved in.
They've fully created a community out of it. Their own legal system, their own rule book. They've created it, and I like it. I just think there's a better way of doing it. Now, my worst dad, I believe, is Frank Murphy. Out of the 3.
The 1970s.
He's just way too sad in his life. He's an angry, done it all the wrong way for his life, been told the wrong way, but because he's manifested this life for himself, he wants his kids to have the same taste of that.
Bringing them down with him.
Yeah, because as soon as they're doing their passion, as soon as they're pursuing what they love, because he couldn't do it, he wants them to fail. And that's totally wrong in my eyes.
Jealous man, isn't it? Really?
Whereas the other 2 dads are saying, come on, get involved with it. Like, this is a passion of mine. I want you on board. He hates his life actively, and he's saying, no, don't you dare go off your grid. Don't you dare go and create your own reality. Live mine. Because I'm in so much pain, you should be too. Whew.
Wow.
I mean, for toxic masculinity, that's as far as it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I would say so.
Do you think I've done a fair order there?
I'd say so, yeah.
I would agree with the order you've put them in.
That's a fair order in worst dads. Maybe we all go through now and do our orders of dads, and then we can conclude the most evil dad.
Okay.
Really? Okay. Right. Okay. I think that's my list. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Josh, I want to know, really sift through and tell us about your dads.
Right. So probably my least offensive out of the 3 is Peter Griffin.
Yeah.
I'd say, because there are moments in there where he does bond with his kids pretty well, but he's generally just everything. Where do you start with him? Because he's awful with money. Like a lot of these. Not even a lot of the ones you've said, because they don't provide for their family either. Peter Griffin doesn't provide for his family at all, does he? There's regular mentions.
Hang on, they got a roof over their heads. What more do you want?
But he's regular. He's always losing jobs, isn't he? And finding other ones. And then there's regular mentions to him just being in stupid amounts of debt from all the weird schemes that
Where
he gets
does his
involved.
money come from? 'Cause
That's
he's
it.
constantly losing jobs.
Yeah, like, and he's always doing these weird schemes, and every now and then they do make references to the fact that he's in like just stupid amounts of debt, and obviously that's not exactly a good environment to be bringing your family up into.
No, not healthy.
Obviously, there's the whole issue with Meg.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Shut up, Meg.
Like,
Yeah, shut up.
the whole family bully her, and it's all spearheaded by him. Like, he's the one that's encouraged the entire family to bully her as well. I think that makes it worse.
To be fair, he is, isn't he?
He's the ringleader of it
antagonist
all.
and ringleader, definitely.
And is that just because he's unhappy, do you reckon? He tries to deflect anyone being nasty to him because he's a bit of a failure.
I don't know.
And he makes it like, well, Meg's the real failure.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't want to be the failure, so I'm just going to deflect onto her, even though she's not a chance to be.
I mean, his dad was pretty harsh to him.
He was
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
The Irish dad.
Yeah, he's like proper Irish Catholic.
My Irish dad.
Yeah.
That's a great song. I think I hashed it up a little bit. My Irish dad. That's all I knew. They're the lyrics.
But then again, I still don't think he's as bad to him as what Frank Murphy's dad was. He was just
No.
a bit of a. I think Peter's dad was just a bit of just an old school Catholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harsh.
Just a bit harsh,
Yeah.
yeah, a bit harsh. And
Spiky.
again, but he's one of those that this is the way you do it. This is the
Yeah.
tradition, and he's set in his ways as well, isn't he? So, but then
Yeah, very
Peter Griffin
much.
isn't that. He's not one where he's trying to make people go a certain way in traditions, is he?
Definitely
Like,
not conventional.
He's just a
in his
very
approach.
unconventional dad
Yeah.
who just does crazy shit. He's a similar one to Homer in The Simpsons, I think, isn't it? Like some of the stuff they do is a bit similar.
I think with
Just
Peter,
quite misplaced love,
Yeah.
I suppose.
I think a lot of what Peter, because Frank Murphy seems to want the best for his kids, whereas Peter doesn't seem to give a shit.
Yeah.
I think that
He's
he's
in
a
his
lot-
own ego wrapped up in his
Yeah.
pursuit of whatever he's doing at the time. That's the only thing that's important. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I got a giraffe.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
No, that's
Peter.
a lot of logistics to having a giraffe, Peter.
Yeah.
You can't just have a giraffe.
I think a
but he
lot-
does what he wants.
A lot of his hatred from his kids probably comes from him and Lois's resentment for each other as well. Because the only way that he bonds with Stewie is by beating up Lois.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
when he realises that Stewie finds that funny, he
just keeps whacking
he
her.
just keeps carrying on with it. Which is,
I like because he discovers that, doesn't he, by just electrocuting her.
Yeah.
Static. So
and
it's like,
she laughs, and then Stewie laughs.
and then he keeps going close, and he's like. It's like, Peter, you're in here, and then he just goes and zaps her. Zap. And then he starts getting progressively worse with
Yeah.
it.
I'm sure he hits her with a wardrobe at some point. Like he throws dumps a wardrobe.
Doesn't he have
on her
like
at
a
some
bunker
point.
made in the bedroom as like an elaborate sort of smoke screen?
Yeah.
And then he goes, I was in the cupboard. Genius. Yeah, he's not the best dad, but I've again definitely seen episodes and glimpses where I thought, oh, he does love them.
Yeah, there's some moments where he tries.
There's definitely an episode with Meg where they went on a road trip together, and she just
Yes.
opens
Oh,
up
yeah, yeah.
and says to him, Dad, why do you not like me? Why do you treat me like this?
Yeah.
And really emotionally, he's sort of, I love you, Meg. It's just what I do. This is what I know. And after that episode, because Meg gets kind of understanding of it and realizes that's their relationship, I think she sort of gives leeway to it a little bit. I think she
Yeah.
allows that to be their relationship, because after his emotional speech, beautiful drive home, I think he farts on her again and she throws up, but then she looks and she smiles at him, and I'm like, oh, that's quite sweet. Quite sweet.
Yeah, that is.
So I'm defending him now.
Yeah.
He's a great dad.
He's not 100% dickhead,
Yeah,
is he?
he's-
I think his issues with being a dad is more the fact that he's just useless,
Yeah.
rather than callous. I don't think he's malicious like some of the other dads that we mentioned.
He's not going out his way to truly cause hatred.
Yeah, he's just a bit useless. A bit being an understatement. Like.
Yeah, definitely a
Yeah.
bit. Who else did you have in your...
I'm torn between as to which one to go for, but I'm going to say Tywin Lannister next, which is
I mean, he's pretty darn bad.
yeah. And there were 3 points of Game of Thrones that I nearly put in. There's Craster, who basically is Westeros's answer to Joseph Fritzl. So
Yeah.
I won't go into details
Yeah.
because it's disgusting. Read up on it if you get the opportunity there.
Or watch it.
Or watch it.
Yeah.
You probably. And Stannis Baratheon.
Yes, Stannis Baratheon, I know him well.
Yeah, but I thought with Stannis, the one despicable act that he does, there is only really one of them to his daughter. Other than that, he's actually quite. I mean, it's as bad as it gets because obviously it ends up. I won't do the spoiler.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's as bad as it gets. But other than that, he does have some quite decent moments with his daughter. So Tywin, that's the one with Tyrion. He literally sentences him to death for something that he knows he's innocent for. So imagine that.
What was that thing again? What did he accuse him of? What was he being accused of?
It was poisoning Joffrey.
That was it. Yeah.
But he did have a hand in.
Spoilers.
Yeah, oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Oh, we've done it, haven't we?
Yeah,
But,
ruined.
We'll do spoiler alerts.
Yeah, at the start, guys, don't watch this. Oh no, we've already said it.
Yeah.
I'll clip it in.
Like, I think Tyrion did have a small hand in it, but like it was mainly Varys and the Tyrell grandma, like Lady Tyrell.
I mean, it was for the best. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, he definitely
That
did.
needed to happen.
He definitely deserved it.
I haven't seen it. All that you're saying is
Oh my God.
it's just horrific. To
Wow.
be honest. I don't
Yeah,
want to
we
see
really
it.
have ruined it.
Sounds really bad.
Well, Joffrey's a funny one because his character was that bad that the actor kept getting death threats and he quit acting over it.
You what?
Really?
Yeah. But that's just a testament to how great an actor
He
he
was
was.
a great actor.
because
Well,
he played
fucking
it so.
thick people are.
Yeah. That's another testament.
He said he used to get people coming up to him in the street. It was like, "Oh, I absolutely love what you do, but whenever I see your face, I just want to punch you." Like he'd get
Wow.
comments like that.
Do you think
'cause
he'd
I
ever
kinda
been
feel like
attacked
that
on
by
it?
Hancock.
I don't know.
Imagine actors being so good in their roles that they have been attacked on it before.
Yeah, but
Makes
he
sense
ended.
because people
Yeah.
are that thick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
like-
are that thick and
Really?
can't detach themselves
No,
from it.
no.
Apparently on Twitter he was getting a lot of hate.
Wow.
For that. And he has
I
quit
wonder what
acting.
that does to you in your role.
He's quit and he's gone into production.
Do you
now.
think
Like,
you
he's doing
go
something else.
really? So it acts. I was asking the question what it would
So
do
they've
to an
ruined
actor,
his
but
career,
yeah,
essentially.
don't really want to act.
You've
Yeah,
ruined
it's-
your career
Wow.
for a part that you've played.
I mean, he's still in the industry because he's producing now.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
he's just he doesn't want to.
Because
be in
even
front of the
during
camera.
the acting of that role, you'd think if you're getting these death threats in,
Yeah.
maybe I need to soften it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Ruins the role totally because he was a great role.
Baffled. to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
And there was another guy, who's the other worst character in there that you end up really hating. Had the slave cut his pinky off.
Ramsay Bolton.
God,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
great act. That is.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Sorry, mate. We're really cutting you
Well,
out.
I've seen the bit where the guy crushes his head. I've seen that bit from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
The
that's
mountain.
good. Yeah. Do you know what? I didn't watch Game of Thrones for about 2 years after that scene.
Really?
I watched that
It's one of the only scenes I've seen.
with everybody. I was staying in a hostel, and everyone was going, "Oh, you need to watch Game of Thrones. Need to watch it." Watched that episode. Thought it was pretty cool.
It's a great episode.
Really cool scene. Just going around and screaming, "You're dead, my daughter. You're dead," and then he
Yeah.
just crushes him. I loved it, but I just didn't watch it again for 2 years after that. And I was waiting for that scene to come up for a long time. It was powerful, though. Really cool.
That is the episode where Tywin sentences him as well, because the reason why those
Lot
two are
happened in that
fighting.
episode, mate.
To be fair, I think I've seen that whole episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I've probably
you're
seen
back in
a lot-
board then.
Yeah, a lot of what you're talking about, I've seen. It's
reason-
all of one episode.
Join the journey. That's all it
You're talking
revolves
about one
around.
episode.
Because the reason for the
What
fight
I've
in the
seen.
first place between those is because Tyrion picks trial by combat.
Yes,
brings in
yeah.
Oberyn Martell as his champion.
Crazy guy.
And then Tywin's champion is the Mountain.
Like this.
And to be fair to Oberyn, he nearly wins.
Yeah, yeah.
he does.
Well, he does win.
Yeah. He's,
But then he lapses
Yeah.
in judgment. You're like proper nodding, Sam is.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that episode. Yeah, totally.
Remember that bit?
I feel. Yeah.
That was vivid.
I mean, just for Sam's sake, we'll get on to your next guy because
Yeah.
you're definitely lost in here.
Definitely.
But as far as dads go, I think he's going to become probably the worst dad, willing to kill his son. He hated his son all the way along.
Yeah.
Showed favouritism throughout
that
the
was the other
whole
thing I was about to say. He's got
season of
very
it.
clear favourites, like Jamie's his whole champion.
yeah.
He's done
all he
much worse
cares
shit
about.
than a lot of these dads we're talking about, to be fair. From what we're
Yeah, it's having toxic mentalities and favouritism.
Yeah. Or killing your
and
son.
he favours his incestuous son and daughter and grandson over over his what he calls.
If you've got to choose, then choose.
Yeah, he chooses them.
Go on. Who was your last dad?
My worst dad, and it was a.
Oh, this is your worst.
Yeah, that wasn't the worst. That's what I'm baffled by.
Okay, yeah.
This is the 3 is the worst.
Here we go.
It was a hard choice because, and the reason why I'll come on to the reason why I think Tywin's not the worst in a second, but Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty, I genuinely think is more sociopathic in a way, because Rick is the villain in Rick and Morty, like the whole way through. I know that he's always saving the family, but he's always saving them from situations that he's got them into. All of these people, all of these aliens
she's look at me.
Yeah, like all of the aliens that come after him, it's all because he's stolen something from them, or he's gone to their planet and just killed someone, and now he's like the most wanted man in the universe.
You see, can I contend this point of yours?
Yeah,
I think it's going to end up in a brawl, isn't it?
Yeah, there we go.
I feel at least Rick Sanchez is overtly obvious and open, saying, I don't really care about my family all the time. He keeps broadcasting it, putting it forward, like I'm Rick.
He's the Rickest Rick of them all,
I'm the Rickest Rick. I don't care about emotional attachments, Morty. I don't care about this.
Yeah.
And kind of, there's a bit of beauty in that is really expressive to, this isn't what I wanted. And they can then position themselves on that. Whereas other dads that we've mentioned try and mask it with, I do love you, because they're supposed to love them.
Yeah.
But they don't actually show that, or they don't care or showcase it ever.
Yeah.
Whereas Rick can sometimes display a bit of affection when even he's said he doesn't care for affection, which is just a human emotion that he doesn't really believe in.
Yeah.
There's loads of Ricks though, aren't there? So some of them are probably more dickhead than the other ones.
Yeah, of course.
True.
He's the rickiest.
But we are talking
Ricks,
about
though.
the Rickest Rick of them all. Yeah.
But yeah, that just how I feel on that front is I've always enjoyed his openness and truthfulness.
Well, the fact he owns being a dick.
Yeah. And
it
then, because you're so authentic and real with it, your family can then position themselves around how they treat their dad.
True. But I mean, some of the things that he does that have swayed me towards that. I mean, one of them is being a bad granddad, I suppose, not a bad dad.
Yeah.
And that one's, whenever Morty beats him in an argument, he just erases his memory.
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
So that he can't ever win.
Morty's mind blown.
Yeah. Not only that, is then Rick comes back with the solution and pretends he's come up with it himself, and then Morty's just left gaslighted.
Completely.
But to another level, like he's.
I mean, didn't he clone his daughter though, Beth?
That was going to be the worst thing that I was going to come on to, which is when he was asked the question.
Which one was worse?
I mean, to be fair, well, not to be fair, because it's not. It's horrible. But he abandons her multiple times throughout her childhood, doesn't he? He walks back in, and then he's out again. Then he just disappears, and then as she's an adult, she's still trying to get the relationship with him. She says that she wants to go off on all these adventures and says, do you want me to be part of your life? So he responds by cloning her and erases his own memory so that he doesn't ever have to live with the guilt. So that's kind of both avoiding the question, and the question was, do you want your daughter in your life?
Yes, yeah.
You know, if you're asked that on Jeremy Kyle or one of them kind of
Could
programs.
you imagine him coming on fighting against
no.
that? Yeah, there'd be a few boos in that crowd.
But to most fathers, surely that would be the most obvious answer in the world. But he genuinely has to not only think about it, he has to come up with a weird solution to worm himself out of it.
Yeah.
Well, out of all the dads, though, he's the only one that's built a whole world dedicated for his daughter. He built that floopy land, didn't he?
Yeah.
But then he left the
That's the thing, though. He fucks up big time on that.
He fucked up. But it must be said, there's something in his heart that cares for his family, cares for his daughter.
Yeah.
Because you can't create a whole land for her where she couldn't injure herself, could she?
Yeah, but didn't he just do it so he didn't have to spend time with her?
Yeah. It was like an escapism thing, wasn't it?
She got somewhere to go and he didn't have to go.
There's always a dirty catch-22 with Rick, isn't there?
He never does anything out of sincerity, I don't think.
No, it's for his own gain.
He does everything for his own gain.
Yeah, which was a bit like Peter Griffin, really. He just does what he wants to do. They're all warped into their own egos, and as long as the kids don't interfere with what they want to do, they're happy with them.
Yeah.
They can accept them. But as soon as they cross paths into interfering in their doings, they write them off.
Yeah, that's it, really.
But
Bad dads.
the reason why I went for Rick over Tywin was because Tywin, I know we've said he has his favourites, but to his favourites, he is actually a very good dad. Like, to Jamie, he's basically taught him everything he knows. He's been the ideal father. He has been, well, not the ideal father, because he's massive.
He's shown good characteristics of a dad.
Yeah, to Jamie and to an extent Cersei as well, but more so to Jamie.
But it's fine that he kills one of them.
Tries.
Well, he tries.
He couldn't do it. Couldn't bring himself to it.
Oh, he couldn't, could he? Right. I say I've not seen it.
No, he didn't have the opportunity because his son killed him.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell! Wow, I'll beat this. That got really bad. Let's just go through.
You're one of those people that puts a film and go, "Oh yeah, I've seen this one before. This is what happens."
Totally, I'll ruin it, guys. I'll put this at the start, but if you like the idea of getting into Game of Thrones, this is not the podcast for you. Snip that bit out.
Yeah.
Put it at the start.
Yeah, I'm not bothered about getting into it.
We'll
Really.
be good.
So I don't mind the spoilers.
Right, come on then, Sam.
Right. Okay, I'm going to go for the. I think the least. I mean, the least worst one, whatever that is, the best out of the bad bunch.
The best out of the
best
bad.
of the bad bunch.
Yeah.
Is Mr. Wormwood.
Yes.
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito in Matilda.
Matilda's father, yeah. Of
course.
So he's a dick. Like, he is an absolute dick. He's a dodgy bastard. He clocks cars and then resells them on to people and they don't work, so they're death traps. So could obviously cause injuries. He's got... whenever Matilda's right, he does that bit, I think, where they're doing like a maths question or something like that, and she gets it like that, and he's like, you're cheating. Never believes that she's right. He prefers his son because he's a male, because he's his son.
Henry VIII.
And he's a bit of an idiot as well. So I think deep down he really doesn't like the fact that his daughter's the intelligent one and she's the one that's probably going to be successful, and his son's not going to carry on his legacy, and probably his family name is what he's thinking. So yeah, that's another thing. I wrote some other things actually. What did I write? Oh yeah, the one thing that I always think is kind of it paints his character quite well is he's just a very arrogant man. So like when he enters rooms and he has to announce himself when he enters a room, and he says like, everyone pay attention to me, everyone. Yeah. What's that? I think he says, notice me and pay your respects. Is what he says when he walks into the room, because I'm the one that lets you live the life you live and all that. And yeah, so he's
small man syndrome.
Arrogant.
Yeah,
he's a very small man, isn't he? So he's playing. Danny DeVito's probably a nice bloke.
I can be an empath for this.
Yeah,
I can get where he's coming from.
But yeah, there's quite a few things that he does that are dodgy, to be fair. I mean,
have you wrote down a whole...
I just wrote down a few lists because my memory's not very good sometimes.
That's fine, dude.
So I
love that you've
list.
gone to town on this.
But the worst thing he does, this is by far the worst thing he does. He basically obviously leaves the country, so he's leaving his daughter behind with a teacher, and she wants to adopt her, and he don't give a shit. Like, he goes to Spain, and he turns up and he's got to sign the adoption papers because she doesn't want to go, but he don't care. He's just like, well, I'm going to miss my flight, so I want to sign the papers. Signs the papers as quickly as he can, and then fucks off and doesn't even say bye or wave bye or anything. Like he's more bothered about missing his flight. So yeah, he's just a nasty man, terrible father, but not the worst, I would say. Just a bit shit. At least he lets his daughter do what she wants at the end. He doesn't force her to go to Spain.
The scene that always sticks in my mind of that is when he does that. I'm big, you're small. I'm this, you're that.
I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong.
There's
totally. You can do about it.
There's nothing you can do. I remember seeing that as a kid, and it kind of frightened me.
Yeah,
we used to say that all the time.
He could be like that
when we were kids as well.
Did you?
We used
you used that as a story.
Probably just me and my brother just used to say it to him. I'm right, you're wrong. Right.
Just use it.
There's nothing you can do about it.
But I definitely remember watching that and thinking, what a horrible human, what an awful man. Yeah. But like you say, he can show good qualities of being a dad to his son, who he loves, because his son's following his pursuit. Doesn't make him a good dad in any regard, but he has got that in his toolbox
just
of
makes
being
him more acceptable than some of the people we're speaking about, isn't it, really? But I'll lead it on to the next one.
He's kind of he's more in like the Peter Griffin character.
Yeah.
Agreeing that he's terrible because he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, and he all he's focused on is his pursuits of being a dodgy dealer. That's all he cares on.
But yeah, I think it leads on to the Stan Smith I've got as the other one.
He's awful.
The other one who is a terrible dad. Like, he does some terrible things, like puts his family in the vacation goo. so he doesn't have to go on holiday with them because he doesn't want to spend time with them. So pretty bad.
Vacation goo.
The vacation goo, where they go in the goo and they have their own holiday, and he just sits and watches Super Bowl.
No way.
It's like this chamber thing.
Do they know they're in the goo?
No, they think they're on a real holiday. He's there in the simulation.
Oh my
He's
God.
there.
I think Roger accidentally rumbles it by unplugging the goo chamber, and then they realise where they are, and it's like, hang on a minute, we're not on a boat.
Doesn't Rick sort of do that in some regard to his family? That they think they're together and they're not. I think he makes little robots and they're actually in another universe.
Oh,
and
yeah.
His mate. So that not wanting to be there, being in the where he even turns himself into a pickle, doesn't he? So he doesn't have to go
Rick when he doesn't have to go to therapy.
Family counselling.
Oh, of course, that's why he does it, isn't it?
There are
about that.
These dads are just so desperate to be on their own mission, like Stan, like Rick, so on, where they're so willing to go to the furthest measures of making the goo or making a clone.
Yeah.
Kind of respect it.
It's clever.
Yeah, it's clever, that's the word.
If you've got the ways and means to do it, then maybe in some situations you would.
It's incredibly sociopathic, though, because surely the easiest solution would be to actually answer the question or face up to your
demons,
up to your kid,
I don't
rather than making a cloning device and actually cloning them.
How do the family take it when they find out it was all a simulation?
They get really pissed off, don't they? And then he goes and takes them on a real holiday,
Oh.
and then Francine thinks that that's also a simulation, so she starts going crazy.
Could you imagine?
She can't tell what's real.
After living in one simulation, just going outside the Matrix, seeing a bit, you go, oh no, what's real now? Yeah.
Oh, they end up...
on a boat.
No, they end up on a trip and they think that these people are after them.
Okay.
So they end up... It's like a plane crash situation where one person dies and they end up having to eat her. And then...
sort of seen a bit of this episode now you've just mentioned that.
And then they get rescued.
Yeah, I've watched this episode. I remember
It's a
you
good
saying
episode.
it now.
It's one of the better
And then they were like, let's not go on a proper holiday. Let's just use the goo from now on.
Let's just use the goo.
What about the one where he, like the Truman Show, he puts his son into that world that he's dictating to teach him how to be a man?
Because he wants to teach him how to be a man.
They can't cook properly or they can't survive, so he turns up the weather loads, just absolutely socking him with the wind and that. That's such a...
he's done some bad things.
That's awful. That's the pinnacle of toxic masculinity. He's not a man, he can't survive in the wilderness.
He does a clone thing as well, actually, because him and Francine have a debate on who's got the best parenting method. So to test his theory, Stan gets Steve cloned. Stan looks after the new clone and raises him to be his athletic, jock person, who just ends up resenting him.
Yeah.
Because obviously, he's too strict, and then Francine goes the opposite and just lets Steve do whatever the fuck he wants.
It's on later for me. This American Dad. I watch my Family Guys and I've usually fallen asleep by then.
Yeah.
But are there ever glimpses in American Dad where he does show love and he does show compassion?
I can't think
Is there
of
anything...
many. I mean, more with Roger, to be fair. I think he's kind of more has those bonding moments with Roger the alien than he does with his kids generally.
He does have bonding inside.
Yeah, it just
but
seems
he's just not with his
family,
kids.
really. So does
he love his wife?
Yes.
That's quite
he loves his
obvious.
wife, but then he always does stuff to piss her off as well.
Yeah.
It's just one of them. But he does some really, really shady things on top of that as well. He steals a baby from a gay couple because he doesn't think that gay people can look after children. And then he steals 2 kids from a lesbian couple because he doesn't think they can look after children. But then he has a change of heart at the end of that, so it doesn't finish like that. But still, to do that in the first place. He has his
learnings to go through.
Yeah. That's how he learns. It's a bit of a toxic way to learn, isn't it, really? Kidnap him.
It's not your best bet, is it? It's going to get you in some stick.
I'd say he's more he's in the Frank Murphy and Tywin category, in the fact that he does actually want what's best for his family, but what his offspring think is best for his family is best for him, best for them even, is not what he wants.
There's a shred of integrity, I think, in most of the stuff he does. I mean, even the one where he messes up the mural.
Oh God!
And he's trying to draw the mural and he fucks that up and then blames it on Hayley, and then he feels bad for doing it. So to try and rather than owning up and go, no, it was me, I just framed my daughter. no, he can't take the shame. So what he does, he fucking decides to do plastic surgery on her so she looks different, so that she's not recognised, and then fucks that up as well and makes her
Wow.
look terrible.
Yeah.
So that's not a great thing to do to your daughter either, really, is it? Just perform unlicensed plastic surgery to get out of an issue that you've created.
Yeah.
One of the worst ones we've heard,
very good.
actually.
That's really bad.
I mean, in Tyrion's, like, if he got killed, that's it. That's all he's got to deal with. But if you've performed plastic surgery and she's got to live with that for her life, then that seems more cruel, if anything.
You've disfigured your daughter to cover for your own arse.
No way is he going to swoop in and become worse dad, surely.
Nah, surely not. No, I don't. Well,
Okay.
shall I go on to the next one?
Well, have you got anything else wrote down that you thought...
There was like, well, the only other thing I thought was like the Father's Day issue where he did the Father's Day and they didn't do Father's Day properly for him.
Oh,
And
repeat.
he kept erasing their memory so that they would do it right.
the perfect
and then he kept
Father's
changing
Day,
the parameters and kept going, no, do it again, and then ended up losing days and days. I can't remember how long he was doing it for, but yeah, he fucked them over for a few days and kept making
sure it's
them
like
redo.
50 odd.
Yeah, it's a long time. It just keeps making them do Father's Day to get it right, which is just narcissistic.
Do they know
and
they're going back
sociopathic.
through it and repeating it? No, they don't. So
They're
they
none the
keep getting
wiser.
it erased
It's
again.
like Groundhog Day.
But, oh, God, yeah.
It's just the same every time, but
Good film,
yeah,
that.
that is a good film. That is a very good film. But yeah, they were the main things really. So he's done some really shit things, and
Okay, just a little recap before we go on to your mystery
Controversial
man,
one.
your controversial one. But we've got Dr. Evil, Frank Gallagher, Frank Murphy. They were my three.
Yeah.
Tyrion Lannister.
Tywin Lannister.
Tywin Lannister.
Yeah. Rick Sanchez.
Rick Sanchez.
And Peter Griffin.
Peter Griffin.
Not in that order, but yeah.
and
Mr. Wormwood,
Mr. Wormwood.
and
Of course.
Stan Smith,
And Stan Smith. Okay, so that's who we've got. My worst of my worst, before you say anything there, listening in, probably Tywin.
Do you think?
Lannister. Or I really don't like Frank Murphy. Because all the dads mentioned really have got a passion. They want their sons to be this archetypal son that lives their legacy, lives their passion with them, and they're on this pursuit. Because the sons haven't followed their father's footsteps, they grow resentment towards their sons.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, oh, I get it, but I understand where that emanates from, where it comes from.
I think Tywin would be the worst for me if he wasn't good to Jamie.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's the only thing that makes him...
But that's
his
still
only
what he
saving
wants,
grace.
because he's king, because it always got this big character.
Yeah.
And he wants them to follow pursuit in that. They're fighting for a bigger purpose. That's what I feel. He's got this in mind that is going to help them out eventually. He's got an end goal in mind that they're all going to benefit from. Whereas Frank Murphy in F is for Family has the total opposite idea of all of this.
Yeah.
Wants them
Isn't
to
I want
fail.
them to go do well in their lives and pursue their passions and do better than me. He wants to drag them all down because he did so shite in his life. He's thinking, no, pursue what I did because I hate my life, I want you to hate yours. And that feels so different in all the other dads discussed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not feeling it, is ya?
I've just realised, like, we've made like two quite interesting categories there. There's either the category of people that don't give a shit, and they've ended up like towards the lower end of the list. It's the people that do give a shit but just have really fucked up ways of putting
the
it.
terrible approach.
That seem to be the worst ones.
Completely. Yeah.
Because Frank, like you say, Frank clearly does have a direction that he wants his family to go in, but it's just the direction of failure that he's gone in.
Yeah.
Whereas Peter Griffin and Mr. Wormwood literally don't give a flying fuck about what their family do.
Which kind of... There's some
And Frank
beauty
Gallagher
in-
doesn't either. He doesn't give a shit either. Like,
Doesn't
the reason
care
why
what
they're
they're
bad,
pursuing and what they're travelling down.
Yeah.
They can do their own thing.
their badness is just their...
Gives them a bit more scope and allowance, though. It gives them the ability to make their own decisions.
Yeah.
And maybe they could come out really on top because of that maturity that they've got to grow early on in their life and become their own people.
But then if you want your dad's guidance on something, Peter Griffin or Frank Gallagher is probably the last people you'd ever want to go to there.
Definitely.
Go to them for help.
Yeah.
But if you were getting guidance from Frank Murphy, you know it'd only be to make you a failure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So you go towards
just
it
do the
and you
opposite.
say,
Easy.
if you say, Dad, I've been thinking about picking up the guitar. Nah, don't do that, son. You're going to waste your time when you should be studying, and then you get a job here like me. That doesn't sound healthy. Okay, so that's our feelings. You feel you can top trump us with this card you're going to put down now?
I think so.
Yeah?
God. God's the worst, Dad.
God is the worst
Oh,
dad.
you're actually going God is the worst as
God's
well.
the worst fictional
Wow,
dad.
yeah,
Wow,
this is
okay.
what we've got to.
It says
Uh-oh.
fictional as well, but
God is the worst
if
fictional.
God is
There's so
fictional.
many layers to this. There's so many subscribers now on the
Yeah,
series
yeah.
and Theories
I don't know
podcast.
how many massively Christian and religious
Hang on,
subscribers
please, God,
we've
don't
got.
shoot us down now.
I don't know how
either.
many are left, to be
Yeah.
fair. But God.
Which gods? Yeah.
Yeah, no, we'll get into that one. But God, in general,
Yeah.
because God, we'll just talk about I'm talking about Christian God to begin with, so just Jesus,
Yeah,
let's
okay.
say. So he brought Jesus down. Sole purpose of him to be, when he's caused him to be fucked over by pretty much everyone.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
he dies, and then he brings him back just
Yeah.
to get fucked over again.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
pretty harsh as someone who can control that. He's done that.
Old Testament God's really vengeful.
He's
as well.
hard, isn't
really
he?
evil,
He's
isn't he?
hardcore. Give us the belt, son. Get down there.
Yeah.
We've got
But the belt's fire.
Yeah, yeah.
this
all of us
case.
are
The
God's
whip of
children
fire.
as well. That's the
Yeah,
other way
so-
to look at it, isn't it? And all the
We're
shit
all-
that goes on in the world.
He's our Father. Our Father, where art thou?
Father in heaven, where art
Father
thou?
in heaven. Wow. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad in the world. And if he's in control of it all, I'd like to see a little less bad to the degree of what I believe is bad.
Yeah.
I think if he can control that, it's painful to watch at times.
Just realised we're doing this on a Sunday as well. It's just about
Yeah, it feels awful. Also, like we've just discussed, all these other dads, he's created them. So this
Yeah.
toxic mentalities in all these fathers,
He thought them all up.
he is the most toxic dads because they're his creation.
He's the best and the worst
Like
at the
Butters
same
of
time.
Imagination Land
Yeah.
style. He's
Yeah.
thought them into
Yeah,
being.
that's it.
And allowed these characteristics
Pretty
to
sick, innit,
exist.
really?
Butters' dad's a pretty bad one.
Yeah,
actually.
well, I was going to talk about
actually
him.
discussed
Yeah,
that.
but
We've
he's pretty
Butters,
shit, to be
but-
fair.
Yeah.
There was a lot of dads in there that I thought could have been brought into.
Yeah, I had a few.
Harry Potter's uncle, but he is a dad and he only likes Dudley because that's his son, but he shows bad dad traits of
Yeah.
allowing his son to be such a knobhead.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah,
That's not
you're
a good
right.
dad, and teaching him a way of being. So we could have done a lot of different categories. There's dads that don't give a shit. There's dads that give too much of a shit and want to dictate how they're being, and then there's the dad of all dads that could
Holy
The
dad.
father. Yeah.
potentially be the worst of all dads. But then you've got to give balance and you've got to say thank you for allowing South Park to exist and
Yeah.
all the beautiful flowers and
good things, God.
the greatness. So that's such a conundrum because he's, to me, I like my life and provided me a lot of beauty.
Yeah.
Thanks for my daughter. All them good parts, I'm in. All the other dads haven't done that. So in my perspective, that dad
Yeah,
is allowed.
because he's done some nice
So
things
he's
as well.
done some good stuff in his time. I mean, but how he's treated his son, if we're going
That's
Jesus,
it. If we're looking at
As
the
a
fictional
father.
just
character
the
angle
fictional character
in the Bible.
in the Bible,
yeah.
as how he's treated his son,
Pretty
as the Old Testament as well.
Yeah.
That's really
raw, innit?
raw. That's rigid and just spiky,
Yeah.
powerful being.
Love thy neighbour, everyone. I tell you what, if you don't love thy neighbour, I'll burn you. How
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
That was basically Old Testament God.
Some
You might
horrible
have
things.
thrown a spanner in here.
The Passover's really
Yeah.
dark.
He's like a
Right.
Game of Thrones character, really, isn't he? Like,
He's basically Tywin Lannister. That's what we're saying.
but yeah. My other one would be him. To be fair, from what you're saying, he sounds
Yeah,
terrible.
To be
He
honest,
sounds
go home and
fucking
watch
terrible.
that one episode
No,
again.
watch it again.
There are, a few, but yeah, as we said, there are a few more potentials just from
Honourable mentions?
just from Game of Thrones. Like
Thrones.
Craster and Stannis Baratheon, I'd say are both really, really
Sums
bad.
it in his head here.
It's just- I'm not going to remember these words.
Not a chance. Homer wasn't mentioned.
No,
And
I
he can
said
be
his name, but yeah, he's not really had a talk.
He can
has
be bad in his time, but really, he bloody tries.
Yeah, I think
You know?
at least he's got a decent job as well. Like, I'd say he's kind of useless, but he's not as useless as Peter Griffin.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
why I picked Peter over Homer.
That beautiful, it was probably season 1 or 2 in The Simpsons, where he thinks he's going to ruin Christmas because he can't afford anything
Oh, yeah,
for anyone.
yeah,
And he ends up going and getting the dog.
the dog,
Yeah.
And they all hug, and there's too many lovely moments. Even the Simpsons film,
Lisa's
Yeah.
sax as well, I thought was a really good episode.
That's lovely,
like,
isn't it?
with them two.
Yeah, he's actually quite
gets
a good
them a
dad,
horse.
really.
Yeah, he is a good dad. He does the Game of Thrones, Godfather scene where he puts the
Yeah.
horse in the bed and she wakes up to his head, but it's alive and it licks her. She's just like, ah! Oh man, that's so funny. He's again just misplaced
Yeah.
in his love. He's really quite decent, but just accidentally shit.
Yeah.
Randy Marsh has
his
got
time.
worse as well.
Yeah,
over
he
the
starts
years.
off good, and
He started off all right.
Integrity Farms Randy is he's awful.
He's got
Yeah.
pretty bad as a dad now.
He's become a hypocrite in what he used to preach as well, and what
Yeah.
he was speaking about. So
He's
he's
massive
changed so much. And I think what Randy examples is everything we're talking about in these dads, though.
Yeah.
He's got so wrapped up in his ego, in his life, in making money, that's all he cares about now. It doesn't matter what he puts his family through.
But it's how he treats Shelley. Like, Shelley hates the whole business, and he literally he tries to take her to therapy to say she's mentally ill.
Yeah.
She's got a marijuana problem.
Wow.
But her marijuana problem is she hates
this is
it.
gaslighting to its extreme.
Yeah, he literally takes her to a therapist.
Wow. She's just not the same anymore. Dude. She's been so really a strong partner through all of his madness, because he's had so many phases, and she's just like, Randy Marsh, but then sort of lets him carry on with it. And
Yeah.
she's been a great pillar in his life, so I don't think he knows
Sharon
what...
does, definitely.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sharon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shelley's the daughter.
Shelley's the daughter.
But yeah, she's the one.
S&S.
I mean, Sharon hates Integrity Farms as well, but Shelley more so.
That episode, the new episode where she goes to therapy. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
it now.
The
Yeah.
only way that
Sorry.
And
My
there's-
mistake.
And there's the Sharon bit where he just convinces everyone that she's on a period or she's going through the menopause.
That's
or
what I
something
was
because
thinking of.
Because she
Yeah.
hates the school
The
shootings.
gaslighting there.
And he's like, why are you so bothered?
She just gets like anaesthetised to it in the end,
Yeah.
doesn't she? She's just glassed over. Yeah, I think that's what I was alluding to.
Yeah.
Okay, we've given some dads, we've given some honourable mentions. I think God's probably the worst dad.
That's probably
That's it. That's where I'm at. Where are you at, Josh?
If we're going Old Testament,
Old Testament God.
if we're going as a fictional character, then
He allows
yeah.
all these dads to exist as well.
Yeah.
If we're
Yeah,
going
it's your
God as a
fault.
You open the gate.
Okay, guys, for all you Christian fans out there,
Bet you weren't expecting that ending.
Yeah,
If you got that far.
Happy Sabbath.
you definitely didn't. Hey up, everyone that's still there. Really appreciate it. If you've got any questions that you want answering, please get in touch with Series of Theories podcast with your questions, and maybe you could just come on here and answer with us, give your theories. Big love to you all. Peace out. Series of Theories.
Bye bye.
Ciao.
Bye bye.